What's going on, guys? Welcome back. It's Rachel here with another amazing member only video, and today I'm going to be sharing with you how to print on cotton. This is going to be amazing. I know you guys are probably wondering, can you print on fabric? If so, how? Is it difficult? Do you need a special printer? Do you need special ink? I'm delighted to be able to share with you this today because you don't need a special printer, you don't need special ink. Any inkjet printer will work for this and work beautifully. I can't wait to give you all the tips and tricks. We're going to be using one of our new, as of May 2021, Patriotic cut files, a beautiful PNG that has a barn. It's gorgeous. We're going to be placing that on a pillow today, and we're actually not using our Cricut. We're only going to be using our regular computer software. We have a Mac. It can work, of course, on whatever type of computer you have, and our printer today is what we're going to be mainly using for this. The reason for that is because Design Space has size restrictions on their printing cuts. We all know this if you guys are not brand new with Cricut. Those size restrictions are 6.75 by 9.25, and we wanted ours to be bigger than that, at least to be able to fit on a full printable sheet of paper, which is just a standard letter size 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So that's what we're going to be able to do today. We're going to hack the system a little bit and not use our Cricut. I can't wait to give you all of these tips and tricks. I will share with you the supplies that we're going to be using today. All of these are going to be linked for you to be able to take advantage of. We also have an 18-inch pillow insert and an 18-inch pillowcase. We have two easy press mats that we're using today, the largest one and the medium size one. This is just because we want something under our project, and we also want something in between our pillowcase because it has a zipper right in the middle on the back, and we're going to be doing some designing and placing of a design on the center, and we don't want to worry about that zipper causing any problems. So we have that other easy press mat inside there for us. We also have a self-healing mat, an acrylic ruler, a rotary cutter, a weeder tool. We have some heat and bond. Now you can use other things rather than heat and bond. We don't want you guys to feel like you have to go buy a ton of products to make this. This is just a really good option if you want this to have a really professional finish to it. So what this is going to do, it's going to be able to bond to our design and then bond that design onto our pillow. You can use hot glue, you can use anything like that that you can think of that can apply that down in a semi-permanent manner. You can totally do that, but we're going to be using heat and bond today. We also have freezer paper. That's kind of like the secret of today is freezer paper. I can't wait to share with you all these amazing hacks. We also have a Teflon sheet, and I'm looking around. I think that that's all we're going to need today, guys. We're going to be using most of these supplies several times, which is great. You don't have to gather a ton of stuff for this, and I can't wait to dive into it. So we're going to go ahead and get the printing out of the way to give our design some time to dry as we prep and cut everything else. All right, here we are on our Mac, and here is the cut file as it imports. So once you download it, this is how it uploads just on your desktop, and we want it to look like this. So this is what we're trying to get it to look like. You can see it's a lot closer in, it's a lot larger, and the reason for that is because we cropped it. Now, you can crop on any desktop or laptop that you have. Feel free to do this any way you can. It's not a necessity, but we wanted to do it because we wanted our image to be able to print larger. So I'm going to share with you how we did that super easily. This is how it imports right here, and all you're going to do for a Mac, it already has like this little cursor thing for you to be able to crop, so it's automatic. Again, if we just cancel that out, all you have to do is click it, and then we're here right at this step. So what you're going to try and do is get your mouse really close to this watercolor sky here without, of course, cutting it off. So we're going to start and try about right here, and you also want to try and keep away from this grass, but you don't want to have a ton of room over here because you really want to maximize the space that you can have with this. So what we're going to do is try and remember both of those. I'm going to click right there, and then you're going to drag, and this looks pretty good. I'm going to try and even it up on the sides, and we'll go ahead and deselect our mouse. And as you can see, that is like holding still. It's just chilling in place right there. So now what you're going to do is go up to the top where it says tools right here and go all the way down, and you can see right here it says crop, and that's what you're going to click. And then it crops beautifully just like that. It looks amazing. That's exactly what we want to see. And now that you have it cropped, we are going to have to go and prep our paper and our fabric to be able to print. But these are the steps that you will go through to print yours when you have that prepped. You're going to go up to File and click Print. And we're gonna ask our printer to print from the rear tray because it's a lot easier if you have a printer that can print from the rear tray. That's what we always select, especially with odd materials like super heavy cardstock and of course fabric. You really want to minimize the possibility for a fail here. So we're gonna ask that to print from our rear tray, and we're gonna switch this quality setting from normal all the way to best. Now we're gonna hold up right here and go prep all of our fabric and material and pop it in our printer. And when you guys are ready to print, that is the only button you have to press, is print right there, and you'll be good to go. Okay guys, here are the things you're gonna need for this step in the process. First of all, go ahead and preheat your mini easy press. We preheated ours to the second heat setting. And what you're gonna do first is take your fabric and cut it with some scissors down to size a little bit. That's definitely gonna help you to cut this. And once you have it cut down a little bit rougher in a size, so it's not just huge, you're going to be able to cut that on this self-healing mat with your acrylic ruler and your rotary cutter. And we have pre-cut ours to save time. You guys definitely know how to cut the fabric. I promise you guys, with the acrylic ruler and this self-healing mat, with all of the numbers on it, it makes it so easy. I don't normally use rotary cutters, but I really got the hang of it, and I totally enjoy using a rotary cutter for things like this. It just really helps you make sure that all your cuts are nice and precise. So right here you can see this is an 8.5 by 11 piece of fabric. That is how we cut it. That is as big as we want it. And now that you have your fabric, you can take your easy press and go ahead and press all of the wrinkles out of it if there are wrinkles in it. Now as for the next step, you're going to repeat that exact same process with freezer paper. Take it out, rough cut with some scissors, just so it kind of fits in this space here. That makes it a lot easier for you to cut. And again guys, if you would rather cut these type of things with a paper cutter or with scissors, however you are more confident cutting these at the precise size, please do that. I'm not saying you have to use this. This is just what I used. It was a good option for me, but please don't feel like you have to. Whatever option you go with, whatever you're more comfortable doing as far as cutting all this goes, please do that. Now you could easily use a paper trimmer for this and for that heat and bond, but again, I had all this stuff, and instead of bringing another supply on the table, I decided to just try it on here. And of course it worked perfectly because the rotary cutter is used for cutting felts and fabrics and stuff, so of course it cut through this with ease. So again, pre-cut that out, super easy for us. Now a lot of people are wondering what's the difference between parchment, wax, and freezer paper. So parchment paper has no wax coating on either side of it. Freezer paper has one side of wax coating, and wax paper has both sides of wax coating. So that is just a little knowledge there, a little extra tip. So we have this pre-cut and this pre-cut. Both of these are 8.5 by 11. Will fit perfectly in our printer. So once you have cut those out, we're gonna clean up a bit, and I will share with you the next steps. You're gonna take your freezer paper and lay your fabric down. Place your freezer paper shiny side down on top of your fabric. These will be the exact same size, so definitely make sure you take your time and place this on here accordingly. And once you have this placed, it's all even. You have again, the freezer paper with the shiny side down onto your fabric. You're gonna take your easy press, start from the middle, and just push your way out. You don't wanna overwork it with the heat. You just want to lightly go over it. Make sure that everything is nice and adhered down. And to check, we can just flip the whole thing over, and it looks great. If you see any bubbles or anything like that, you can try and get those laid down. And what we're gonna do now, guys, is the crazy part. We're gonna place this in our printer and allow this to print. So what the freezer paper does is it acts as a stabilizer for us in our printer. So it's really gonna help us be able to print this easily, and it's gonna look so professional. I can't wait to show you guys what it looks like. So let's go ahead and put this into our printer. We're gonna go ahead and place this freezer paper and fabric in the rear tray of our printer. We're gonna place this fabric side facing out and freezer paper side facing down for us to be able to print this properly. Again, it's super important if you have a rear loading printer. We really love the capabilities of that and how easily it can do materials like this, because it just has to go straight through the printer instead of up and around like normal paper would. It has to start down here and kind of curve around. So that is what we're going to do today, is just load it in fabric facing out. I will go ahead and note it is a lot easier if you have some cardstock behind it. It almost kind of supports it in a way and makes this process a little bit easier, but just make sure it's loaded in there like normal paper would, and go ahead and press that print button after you have followed those directions to make sure that you have selected your rear tray and you have bumped that quality up from normal to best. Guys, look how that printed. How fascinating is this? Is it not amazing? And again, it has the freezer paper on the back and the regular fabric on it here. And what you can do at this point is just remove that freezer paper. It's so satisfying and so easy to remove as well. And then just lay this down. And you want to give this some time to dry. So just kind of let this hang out, and we're gonna go ahead and prep the other parts of this project just to allow this some time to dry and try and get those inks really saturated into that fabric. One thing I want to talk about right now before we move forward as well is, I know a lot of you guys are gonna ask about sealing. How can I make this project last forever? So here's the thing. There are different products you can use to lock in this ink. One of the best that I have researched and heard of is called Retain. It is a solution that you will let your material set in, or you will wash it in that. And what it does is it locks in inks. So a lot of people use them traditionally for all of their dark colored clothing, like red clothing. You would wash a load of red clothing in with this Retain mixture, and it would lock all that color in. That way in the future you could wash your reds with your whites and things like that. So it really does a good job. The problem is it was all sold out, guys, when we tried to order it to be able to film this video. So unfortunately we are not going to be able to show you that today. However, I'm going to try and link a couple of different options for you guys from maybe Etsy, eBay, Amazon. If I can find some in stock, I will link several. If they are all out of stock when you check, I do apologize. It was out of stock for us as well. Some people apparently are unlocking that secret and buying it all up, which is great. I hope everyone is getting crafty and loves that product. But it was the best product that we have researched to seal this and make this really hold ink wash after wash. Now, we don't typically wash our pillow covers that often, so if you're not worried about washing it, that's fine. If you wanted to apply this down on your pillow with Velcro strips, that way you could remove this and then wash your pillow cover and then replace this once the pillow cover itself is washed and dried. You can do that. You can do that as an option if you want to create lots of these for different themes and stuff like that. So feel free to get creative, but if you are interested in that, again, I will link that. We don't have it today, unfortunately, but this is the moment when you would want to do that. This is the time when you would want to go ahead and seal that, do whatever you want to do to try to make this last. But again, we're just going to go ahead and let that dry and prep the rest of our project. All right, guys, this is all the material that you will need for this step. As you can see, we have our large 10 by 12 easy press over here preheating. I have set the heat to 300 degrees and just set the timer for 30 seconds. We're not going to be using this for 30 full seconds, just a few seconds at a time, but we have it set for 30 from a different project, so we're just going to leave it at that setting. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your heat and bond out of the pack, and you're gonna cut a large portion of it just like you did with the fabric and just like you did with the freezer paper. And you're gonna lay it on your self-healing mat with your acrylic ruler and use your rotary blade to cut it. Now here's the catch. The other two materials you guys have cut to 8.5 by 11. This time you want to cut it 1/2 inch shorter on each side. So where you cut 8.5, cut 8 inches. Where you cut 11, cut 10.5. And again, we have pre-done this to save a lot of time and noise for you guys to have to listen to me. So I have this pre-cut at 8 by 10.5. So that is what it looks like. It's going to have a rougher, shiny side. I hope that captures on camera, and it's very textured as well, and then a completely dull side that just feels exactly like the back side of that freezer paper. So this is what we'll be working with today. Again, just to make things easier, if you line it right up here, 10.5 by 8. So that is exactly what we need. So once you have that cut, you are officially done with your acrylic ruler, your rotary blade, and your self-healing mat. You have definitely used it a lot today. I said you were done with the self-healing mat. You're not. We actually need it for this step in the project. Here is where we're going to add our frays. We want our edges to be frayed. That's why we kind of have some extra room on each side of the barn here and on the top and the bottom. So we're going to take a Cricut tool of all things and fray these edges. You might need a couple other things like some scissors to really accomplish the look you're going for, but we will show you the basic steps on how you'll fray an edge on a fabric like this. So this fabric has had some time to dry, and the general gist of this is you're going to start on one side and use your Cricut pokey tool here, the weeder tool, and you're going to start near the edge and go down each edge, fraying just a little at a time, just like this. I hope you guys can see this pretty clearly. Just going to fray these edges, and we're going to actually fray quite a bit. And the reason why we made our heat and bond 1/2 inch shorter on each side is because we're fraying. We don't want the heat and bond the exact size of this, which is 8.5 by 11, because we're fraying roughly a little, like 1/4 inch or something like that. So we want to leave some room for that fray that doesn't have to be bonded down with the rest of the project. So yeah, we're gonna go through all 4 sides and do that exact same process. Again, just picking back and forth. We're just going to go up and down on each side until we like the frays. And if you get like really big pieces like this, feel free to cut them off, or you can just pull them, whatever you want to do. At the end, you might want a couple of these long strings hanging for a nice look. So feel free to do that if you want to, but we're going to go ahead and pull a lot of strings from all the sides and fray these and really get it to have the look that we're going for. Okay guys, we were done fraying these edges, and I just went through and trimmed off some of the longer pieces that we don't necessarily want to keep on our project. That probably took the longest out of all of this, guys. If you have a better way to do that, please do it. That was really long and time consuming. And my hand is sore for sure, but guys, it turned out amazing. It was so worth it. It is adorable. So we're gonna move on and continue and put our pillow together. For this step, you're gonna need your large easy press, your cut heat and bond, an easy press mat, and your printed fabric. What we're gonna do is also use a piece of butcher's paper or parchment paper. Now again, guys, we told you all the difference between parchment, butcher's, and wax paper, and we want parchment paper, which is the paper that has no wax coating on it, and you can use that, but we're gonna use butcher's paper, which is very similar. and we're just gonna lay it down. This is not a necessity. This is just a precaution in case anything happens with our ink. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our Heat and Bond and apply the Heat and Bond, that shiny textured side down, and place it in the middle of this design here. And then we're gonna take our Easy Press and heat it just for a few seconds. We just want it to heat up enough to bond this material together. So we're gonna leave it just like that. Pick up our Easy Press, press it down, and just like 5 seconds, not very long at all. And then we'll be able to pick this up, put our Easy Press back on our cradle, and kind of let this cool a little bit. This stuff is really neat. This Heat and Bond is really neat because it is like a two-sided adhesive. It's really cool. And if you peel that up, you can see no ink transferred, which is amazing. We're gonna let that cool just a bit, and then we'll be able to peel that off and expose another layer of that adhesive that needs to be heat activated. So we'll let that cool a little bit while we prep our pillow. So I'm gonna set this to the side and bring our pillow in. And you wanna make sure where that tag is at, that's the back of your pillow. And then the zipper goes across this way. So just place your design on your pillow however you want. Of course, be picky with it. We're just gonna line this up. And I'm just gonna press this down a bit just to kind of preheat that surface for us. Get out any new wrinkles or anything. I did press it a few minutes ago, but you can never press it enough to try and get those wrinkles out. So now that this is prepped and ready for our material, we're gonna scooch this over and see if we can peel this backing off of here. It should come up for us, and it does. Look how easy that was. So I hope that you guys can see this. The back of this is now shiny. So if we remove all of that, look at the back, guys, it's shiny. So that's that adhesive. So now we can make sure our pillow is nice and straight. And this pillow was folded in 4s in the pack, and there's a crease all along here, and I can see exactly where the center of the pillow is, even with having ironed it several times to get those wrinkles out. So I know exactly where the center is, which is phenomenal. And add that down. Make sure you position it right where you want it. And I know you might be thinking, this looks a little small for a pillow of this size. Well guys, when you stuff a pillow that's 18 inches, you really don't have a lot of room to work with. We would maybe argue about 10 inches. So you really don't want a design that takes up the entire pillow, because it can distort and be hard to see when you fluff that pillow and it has that rounded appearance. So do take that into consideration. Feel free to scooch this up and add an HTV saying on the bottom or something like that. But this is looking amazing for us. Just make sure, again, you're super picky with where you want it. Feel free to get a measuring tape and measure to make sure it's directly in the center. You can do that however you want to make sure it's in the center. Just go ahead and do that. You want to make sure it's centered, of course, before you heat it. And guys, I did go ahead and measure it, and we have 5 inches in between on the top and bottom, and 3.5 inches on the sides. So we know it's good and centered. Just make sure it is nice and straight. And now we're gonna place that butcher's paper right back on top there and press it again. Again, we'll go ahead and press that timer just so we don't overheat this. We're only gonna press this for about 15 seconds. And then remove it, press that Easy Press back on its cradle there. You can remove your butcher's paper, and you will have a beautiful pillow completely done. So cute. Now we can remove this Easy Press mat from inside there and go ahead and stuff our pillow. Time to stuff. So we're just gonna place our pillow insert in here in the pillowcase. Just like so. Squish the pillow down and pull that insert up over. Make sure you fill those corners really well. I want it to be nice and straight here. Perfect. Now you can cover that up. The back looks nice. And then There you have it, guys. Look how cute that is. Guys, what do we think about printing on fabric? I told you it would blow your minds. I'm so excited and thrilled with the way it turned out. I cannot wait to see what you guys do with all this printing on fabric knowledge. If you make anything like this, please post it in the member-only Facebook group, guys. I love seeing all your projects and seeing your wheels turning and you guys really turning your inspiration into something like this. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you in the next member-only video.